public hearing. Performing ourselves. Anybody want to talk about that hearing?
Public?
Yes, I like to talk about it.
I talk about it.
Yeah.
Stay on, buddy. We're going to go to somebody else.
Well, you asked, and now you ain't gonna recognize me. I mean, what kind of stuff is this?
That's all right. I'll give you some of my time.
Jesus Christ, man.
No, I really want to correct something because this whole process, one of the initial things in the process is you're supposed to show a wide public support for going through this process in the first place. And some people do petitions. That happened some years back, and some of them failed. But it's a lot easier for a commissioner just to create a MAC. Well, he can also uncreate the MAC, like Commissioner Martinez did. And my name's Deborah Lamb, 16350 Southwest 102nd Avenue. Okay. So, if you could contact your commissioner and tell him just to kill it. That's what Martinez is doing. Don't waste our time, right? But the meeting in October, if you were there, out of the 300 plus people that spoke, all were against but like 2 or 3 people. And that gives you a pretty good idea from the mail out what the percentage is going to be.
Just a comment on the meetings. I agree with what the lady said. Roland Navarro, 18217 Southwest 148 Avenue. Here's my suggestion. I have the bookmark of the South AMAC, not all the other ones that are going out there in the county, the West End and all that. Can you somehow put a link to the meetings there? I went to the county calendar. Guess what? You're right. You could get it there after you go through the 50 other agenda items. It's a little calendar, and you have to scroll down on each link. That's my suggestion to you. I'm sure you're sick and tired of everybody here telling you guys we don't get anything. That's just the way to do it, so we can come and see this. And again, another thing, I just want to make sure this gentleman brought it up here. Your PowerPoint, which I've read verbatim, the 1957 charter on how to incorporate versus the 2012 addendum and all that sort of thing. Can you guys unequivocally answer the question? Was this pushed by Dennis Moss, or was there the 20% elector petition done for this matter? It was just pushed through the commission.
Next time, or not vote for nothing.
He's turned out. They don't know he's turned out.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know, because everybody had a question. Were these petitions, who certified it? Was it the Harvey Rubin's office? So this was just pushed by him. No, but it was pushed because it's his.
With your hand up in the back.
Good.
Hi, I'm McGuire, 103rd and 146th Terrace. The meeting in October, the public hearing in October, I attended. The young lady over there was correct. There were maybe 1% that were in favor of this. But just to put this like in layman's terms, because that's the only way I can explain it. These meetings have been going on. I've been attending them for over a year. When I got wind of these meetings, it was hearsay. It was a text message. Yes, the sharing of it is not the best. Absolutely not. But we have social media these days. If you see a sale, if you see a STEM program for your children, if you see anything, what do? You call, you text your friend, you text your neighbor, you let them know. Publix has a sale, XYZ. So that's how this has gotten around. I see a lot of people in here, it's their first time. My first time, basically, at this point now that I've been coming for over a year, it's the exact same thing. We get through the first part of the meeting and we're holding the agenda up because everybody wants to know, why wasn't I told? This is my first time here. I am opposed of it. I oppose it. And the public hearings are for that, for us to share that. But these meetings, without, to say, they're basically building blocks. If nobody was here, they would be here having this meeting. This is for us to come and view and listen to the agenda and see what they are building.
Are you in favor of the incorporation?
I am not, sir.
Oh.
And when the time comes for us to vote, I'll vote against it. But until then, they won't be able to get, once at 8 o'clock, if they're not done with the agenda, they'll leave. And when we come next month, because they're every month, I get the email from Gigi 2 weeks before this meeting. And I link it to my calendar. If your name is on the list, you will get an email. If it goes to your spam, that's your inbox, unfortunately. I did get one and it went to spam, but you are there, they send out prompt notifications. You come to this meeting and you just listen to the agenda. And then you can make an educated decision of, do you want this or do you not? But us sitting up here, I'm not saying you're wasting your breath, but we're holding up the agenda that they're reading out. These questions that we are asking, they're answering some of them in the verbiage. So if we sit down, they're gonna have the meetings regardless, if we are here or not. You know what I mean? So if we sit and they go through these things,
Is that America, right?
and then we vote, and we vote no. But the longer
don't
they're
even have
here,
to go to
the
a
longer
vote.
they don't get to go through the agenda, we won't get any questions answered, and we'll go home, and we'll come next month with these same things. You know? So, they're just the representatives,
All right,
unfortunately.
we're gonna hear from the staff. George?
You know, as part of the handouts, and I hope everybody got one, we have a sheet, it kind of looks like this. And a lot of the questions that I've heard, a lot of you ask is, you know, what happens now? What happens next? You know, when, as part of the ordinance that created this board, they have certain things that the board had to do. Obviously, the 2 public hearings which were held, that pro forma budget and that conceptual agreement, they've done that. So if this board decides to move forward to that next step, you know, what happens next? So let's say the board decides, you know, okay, we're done, we've heard from the community, we've had our public hearings, we've done our work, we want to move forward to the board. So they would have to vote, and it would have to pass to move this incorporation effort to the Board of County Commissioners. So what happens next? We would take those items that they've completed, and we procedurally give that to the clerk of the board. And the clerk of the board would forward that to the county commission. Now, once the county commission has that, it's up to the commissioner of the district that comprises the majority of the incorporation area. So in this case, it would be Commissioner Moss, to take a motion to forward that to the Planning Advisory Board. Now, the Planning Advisory Board is a group of residents that's appointed by the county commissioners, and there's a few other seats, one for the school board and so forth, that they make a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners on incorporation proposals and other things of that nature. So once the board has done that motion and that report is forwarded to the Planning Advisory Board, my office, the Office of Management and Budget, takes that report and we go to our departments, and there are certain questions that we have to answer that the Planning Advisory Board has to consider when they take up this incorporation proposal. So once we put that package together, we'll have a Planning Advisory Board meeting, and that meeting will be a public hearing. So for that meeting, you'll receive a mailer, and it'll be in the newspaper as well. So that'll be probably in the South Dade Cultural Arts Ctr. It's the only facility large enough to house such a large group. And they'll have a public hearing, so they'll listen from the public, and at the end of that, they'll deliberate, and there's a couple of things they can do. They can either give a recommendation to the board to approve the incorporation effort, to deny it, or they can defer it for more information that they may need. So let's say let's say they approve it and it moves forward. At that point, my office would take that recommendation along with that report, and the mayor would provide a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners. So the board, you know, this MAC met, this is what they did, here's their report. Planning Advisory Board met, here's their recommendation, here you go. So the Board of County Commissioners would first go to a committee of the Board of County Commissioners as the rules currently stand. And that committee is comprised of 5 commissioners, and they would make a recommendation to the full Board of County Commissioners. Now, that meeting at the full Board of County Commissioners is also a public hearing, and you will provide notice in the same way. We'll send out all the mailers, and we'll provide notice in the newspapers as well. So you're more than welcome to come downtown and provide your input to the Board of County Commissioners. Now, do you want me to do questions in between, or do you want to wait till the end and then ask questions?
Poor man.
The commissioner has to be at the Board of County Commission meetings. No. The commissioner doesn't come, and I believe he has staff here, but, you know, we do forward all the information we get from everyone at these meetings to the commission office, so he is aware of who attends and what the general consensus is. So questions? Yes, ma'am.
How many commissioners, oh, okay. I just wondered how many commissioners have to vote on it to go to that.
There's 13 commissioners, so it's just a majority. Yes, sir.
Yeah, my original question seems to indicate that we're not even on this sheet yet,
Not yet, I haven't gotten there yet.
but we're not even at that point
No.
where this starts.
No, you guys are up here.
Yeah, well
So-
above it. So
Yes.
our efforts need to go to the county commission, but
No,
Well, they may never
not
get there.
necessarily.
well, we've tried that and apparently it's going. So we need to go to the commission.
No.
Okay, Mr. Murray?
Oh, Mr. Fernandez, I just want you to clarify something for me, okay? Commissioner Moss appointed these individuals,
Yes, sir.
okay? So now you telling me that after all these meetings I've attended, I've not seen very little, if any, support in favor of, okay? That's been overwhelmingly, the support has been not in favor of. But yet, with all that non-support, these 5 individuals here could decide to forward it, to go forward based on their own personal.
That's
I'm
not a
just
question I'm
asking.
gonna answer,
Okay, all right.
because it has nothing to do with my sheet. Yes, sir. I'm back.
Thank you.
He answered it for you.
18040 Southwest 104 Avenue. Question is the MAC study complete? If not, how soon before it will be complete?
The MAC has completed their study.
Okay.
They've had their required 2 public hearings. So they could decide to move forward or not. You know, I just wanted to go through the steps of what happens if they decide to move forward.
When will we know they're moving forward or not?
That's up to them. They can decide that tonight.
How about tonight? Yeah.
Well, there are no set dates yet, you know, but I'll tell you what, let me go through the presentation, and then I'll give you an idea of what other incorporation efforts, how long they've taken. So let's say, you know, this incorporation effort goes to the Board of County Commissioners, and the board says, you know what? Yes, you know, we're gonna send this out to a vote. So what they'll do is they'll schedule an election anywhere from, I believe it's 60 to 120 days. And at that point, you know, you're gonna have a general election in this area, and you'll decide whether or not to create a municipality.
So this election might be standalone, it won't be paired up with anything else?
That's right.
I mean, they
We
try to
always
save
try
money.
to do them
In the
during
summer.
general elections.
Gotcha.
So most of the incorporation efforts, and I can't think of one that hasn't gone through during a general election cycle.
But if not, it costs a lot of money to hold an election.
It does cost a lot of money to hold an election, you're absolutely correct. That's why we try to do it during general elections, where people are more likely to go to the polls anyway. So, although the area votes to create that municipality, that's not what really creates a municipality. And that's what tells the board, hey, this area wants a municipality. The next step in that process is a charter. Every municipality in Miami-Dade County has their own municipal charter. Sets up their rules, how they're governed. It sets up everything. That's the true heart of the city. The county has a charter. It's a home rule charter. So the board would create a charter commission, you know, group of individuals, volunteers, and they would craft a charter for that that area to be incorporated. And once they complete that charter would go back to the Board of County Commissioners, and if they approve it, it would go forward for a vote of the electorate. So if the electorate does approve that charter, then you created a new municipality in Miami. If they reject it, everything goes away. So no municipality is created. Yes, ma'am.
George, who appoints the charter committee? And please emphasize that that's more important than the vote to become a city.
Correct. As I mentioned before, that yes or no vote, do you want to create a city? That is not a binding vote. You know, it's a vote to tell the board, hey, this area really wants it. They voted in favor of it. So at that point, the board would create a charter commission.
The board would appoint them, or the
No,
commissioner
The Board of County Commissioners.
would appoint them?
Correct, and usually the district commissioner.
And the charter committee is the one that decides how many people, how much you're going to get paid, whether they can
Not
vote their own
necessarily how much they're
raises.
gonna get paid, but the charter committee will decide, this municipality will have 7 commissioners. You'll either have a strong mayor form of government or a manager council form of government. It decides how the city's going to be governed in general. That's what your charter does.
Very important.
Very important document.
Do you have a Facebook page on the South A annexation?
The incorporation effort, no, we do have a web page. We do not have a Facebook.
If you were to put up a South A annexation Facebook page, whereas because this is a multitude of steps, okay? And I haven't been on the Dade County government site and going through the calendar, and man, is it hard to find what you're looking for. If you had just a simple set up a Facebook page.
One of the things
Everybody
that
that I know spends most of their life on social networking. So it's like, if you had a South A annexation Facebook page, just that one aspect of Metro Dade, Metro Dade government, and then each of these little steps, you can put like a little tiny sentence. This is where we are. This
Oh,
is
that's
next.
even worse.
It would
Annexation
help
is worse.
so many
Yeah.
people.
One of the things that we've done, and now we're at the end of the process, is we've actually put work plans together. So, and we've passed those out at all the meetings, whenever we've changed them, that show the different steps that the board should be working on at any given time. Those documents, I believe they're all on the webpage, and I say I believe because sometimes things drop off, but on the agenda, at the bottom, there's a link. And that's where the South A information is. And we also try to put the meetings on that page, so you don't have to go through the county calendar and painstakingly look for a MAC meeting. So we've tried, we've listened to you, and we try to make things a lot easier for people to find. That's why we created our email list, trying to, as soon as you sign up, we'll send you an email. We'll always send you an email. A lot of you have said you do receive your email, which is great.
I got a quick question.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned that after this stage, it goes to the PAB committee. But I just started reading a bunch of stuff, and you're right, there are a lot of documents there that if everybody reads it, you get educated on a lot of things. It says here that on June 12, 2013, recommendation 2 of the Board of County Commissioners, that the code be amended to remove that the PAB committee review requirements. So in theory, you may still go through that process, but you don't have to go through the PAB.
No, the process requires the PAB to review it. There used to be a PAB committee that used to review boundaries.
Okay.
That's no longer required by our code. But the PAB as a whole body still has to review.
So they take it next, that's the next step.
Yes, that is the next step.
George, can I ask another question?
Yes, sir.
I'm the boss of the Bureau of Cultural Arts Ctr. Now, 2 questions. How much is this costing taxpayers? Is there a way to go in front of the commission and say, you know what, we don't want it, and let's forget about it, let's forget about the panel, let's forget about wasting more taxpayers' money?
Right. Yeah.
Obviously, the advertisements, yes, they cost money. The studies, yes, they cost money. Each one's different. It depends on the area. It depends on the complexity. I can't easily answer that question, but yes, they do cost money. In terms of, where you go, who you tell, that's what the public hearings are for. If they decide to move forward, the public hearings are.
My question is, when you go in front of the commission, a group of a big group, like social media or whatever, and say, you know what, we don't want this anymore.
As a resident, you can go in front of the commission anytime you want. There's an opportunity, reasonable opportunity to be heard. So you can go in front of the commission, you can speak to your district commissioner. All the petitions that we've received from the different homeowners groups, we have forwarded to the commissioner, so he is aware of those. But, absolutely, as a resident, sure.
So let's do that
Reach out to
instead
your
of all
district.
this mess. We don't want it.
Just write it down and get signatures and then send it out.
I've heard a rumor. I've heard a rumor, and I don't know if this is true or not, that Mr. Moss is up for, he he's under the term limits of being a commissioner, so he wants his incorporation because he needs a good job as being a mayor. That's
It's a rumor, but it's a good guess.
Thank you, Mr. Concepcion. Sorry, folks. Keep it down so everybody can hear the question.
Mr. Fernandez, I've been sitting here and I noticed the majority of the problem that exists is communication. We need to improve the communication, not only with the people that are attending these meetings, but the communication to the whole residents of that map location. So another thing is the county provides communication not only in English, but other languages. We have a large population of Spanish-speaking residents, and they're homeowners, and they should be advised of what's going on. So, my input in this, let's get it going on multiple languages, at least Spanish and English. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
George, my main concern is two quick questions. You may not be able to answer both, but one, the failing of the incorporation process at the end. Let's say it fails, doesn't go anywhere. The underserved communities that don't receive what they should be receiving in this particular 126,000. Have you seen another route they can take to now begin to get served? One. And then the second question is, how quickly can any of these communities be annexed without vote?
The first question I can't answer.
You can't answer.
Your second question, annexation. And what is annexation? Annexation is a process whereby an existing municipality takes over an unincorporated area. The question was, can this area be annexed? It would have to be close to a municipality. The only municipality close to you would be east of US 1. Either Cutler Bay or Palmetto Bay, I believe, are the closest municipalities that kind of touch this area. So if they were to request a portion of unincorporated Miami-Dade County that's on that map, it could be, but if the corporation doesn't move forward. Obviously, municipalities cannot annex pieces within other cities. Thank you. Yes, sir.
My name is Octavio Perez. I live in Denver, It's 12373 Southwest 142. And I've also been at these meetings. And what I see, that this move, there's a neglected part, the southern part. You people who live in the southern part have been neglected for many years. And now they're trying to gobble up and put together this city that makes no sense. There's a railroad that is not going to go away. There's a big zoo, there's a penitentiary. 1/3 of this city belongs to a federal, state, or county, or whatever, okay? For those of us who live in the north, that support ourselves with the north, I don't come down this area for anything.
for this meeting.
So for me, yes, for these meetings, I've been down here for these meetings, you need to understand that. It makes no sense for me. If you incorporate these two completely different entities, with the problem, we don't have transportation. 122nd doesn't go through. 127 doesn't go through. The money that you would have to spend at the end when you incorporate the city, just to make it viable for the whole community to come down to a city hall, it's unbearable. You have no idea. Whoever punched this together just looked at number of households, which is generating units to make it viable, and that's how they did. You put it in the computer, and that's how you get the total number of money you need to incorporate a city and run it. But it makes no sense. That railroad line's not going to... We got, unfortunately, and maybe that's something they did to Commissioner Moss when they gave him his district, they gave him the worst side. The turnpike is not going to go away, guys. They're going to build more lanes. So some of you live on the one side of the turnpike, the other side of the turnpike, the rail line. You look at the unviability of supporting this city. Is what you need to understand. And that's where the expenditure is gonna go 3 years from now, 5 years from now. So it's not as much that you're against incorporation, it makes no sense. Anybody living on 120 makes no sense. Like I said in the first meeting, if I have a heart attack, am I gonna wait for the fire station to be built down here? Or the guy who's right there on the turnpike, a minute and a half, is he going, no, that's not my area, the guy, am I gonna die? Because that's the way how it's structured?
No.
Or the police is gonna be down here? How does it work? You understand? Anytime I go buy something, I'm on Kendall Drive. I don't go further south of 120. London Square, north.
They're just trying to divide.
I've been living there for 15 years. You know, you're trying to force me to be part of a city that to me makes no sense. Because I'm going to have to pay when somebody finally decides, okay, well, when the FPL yard goes away, yeah, we can do something there. Oh, what are we going to do? The zoo is going to be the zoo there. It's Metro Dade. Okay? The penitentiary is not going to go away. The armory is not going to go away. That is the city you're getting to. It's not your city. We got 1/3 of it, our host from the whole state and the whole federal thing.
George, can I ask?
We don't have a city, guys.
George, can I ask a question? No. George. I just want to. George, can I ask a question? Oh.
I would like to know, there's rumors, and I read also, that the zoo area is going to be building a gigantic water park that was signed and approved. Water park and they have it, and I want to know, has that been approved and gone, and they said something about starting it in having it in 2018 or 19. So they're going to do it's a water park, a theme park from the Fox, Universal Fox, you know, and it's going to be gigantic. Then they're going to build a hotel, a 400, the hotel right across the thing. So I would like to know, how is it going to affect us on that? Is it going to benefit, or is it going to?
How's he supposed to know that? How's he supposed to know that? It's not even going to be built. George, can I ask a question? Can I just want to ask you a question. Okay.
Yeah, just a quick question. You know, I haven't attended all of these meetings, but I attended a large part of them. And, you know, and clearly there are some excuses to why we should do things and why we shouldn't. What you were saying about the fire department makes absolutely no sense when it comes to the scheme and how this process works, right? We all know that. That's one of the things that Dade County is going to control. In terms of those things you're talking about the hotel and all that stuff that's being planned, if we have a municipality tomorrow, that would have no impact on that. Dade County is doing that anyway. Listen, the 120,000 residents supposedly that are planned in this process, they're there with the zoo being there, with the federal prison being there, with the armory being there, with Larry P. Thompson Park being there, with all other federal and state and county property that there is. They're still there. You know what? The most important thing that I watched in this process was, what will the tax base look like? What will those numbers look like? Will taxes rise? Or will they not? And here's what I say. The answers are where? In the study, right, sir? What did the study say? Let's have some real communication on what the study says. Because from what I've seen in the past, how incorporations are formed, when they go to the Planning Advisory Board, those are the things the Planning Advisory Board want to see. Is this really viable? Can they do this? You know what I mean? Feasible. No, they're right. Whether it's feasible or not. You know, I'll tell you something else too. I heard you talking about coming north and coming south. Hell, every time I come to a meeting here, it's far far north as I can go without leaving whatever it is. Okay, the point is this. It's got to be a north, it's got to be a south. Hell, that's north right the beach. You know what I mean? It's Florida City. Hell, that's a north and a south.
I just got a question.
If I had my druthers, I don't like all of these meetings here. You wonder why you don't get the real input?
Go have the meeting down south.
Have some further south.
Right.
Have some in some of those communities that you haven't had that input.
Right.
Well, hell, y'all will complete the study and you still haven't had any. Once the study's complete, I'd say do what you need to do. And what I mean by that is, I'm prepared to sit down like common, reasonable people. I think all of us here have common sense. And damn it, let's go vote. That's what I'm prepared. I'm prepared. You know what? And the naysayers that don't want to vote, we know why.
Okay, my question is, we've got 34 cities right now. If they keep creating cities, will there come to some point, since when you become a city, your oversight is pretty much switched to the state level for oversight? In other words, we lose, the Inspector General does not inspect corruption in the cities? That's not what the page says.
The Inspector General has county jurisdiction, so yes, they do.
Oh, it says on the page, only unincorporated. Okay, well, that's a good thing to know. So my question is this. If, from what I've seen, state oversight kicks in and unincorporated, Miami-Dade County doesn't really have the same oversight, is there some tipping point where eventually, if we all became incorporated cities, would we lose our home rule charter because we're no longer...
It is under attack.
Yeah.
The home rule charter, even if Miami-Dade County was completely incorporated, would still exist, because there are other powers other than...
Yeah, they just wouldn't have as much oversight, yeah?
They wouldn't have oversight of an unincorporated area, because
Yeah.
there would be no unincorporated.
And the only other issue I have with this whole situation is, actually, economy of scale, a larger area, especially when it's very bereft of any commercial tax base, is actually a smarter move than a smaller city. But we're already in a huge city called UMPSA, unincorporated Dade County. And what I see is very divisive. I don't want to be divided economically or anything else. I want to be part of our community, and that's what we already are. So that's my opinion.
Gentleman in the back, forward.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Odell Ford. My address is 1455 Southwest 109 Place. I just have to say, just I guess to be honest and upfront, I used to work for the Office of Management and Budget. I used to work with George Hernandez here. So I have a unique perspective. And I don't say that to say, listen to me more or less. I just say I have a unique perspective. To me, the way I see it, it boils down to self-determination and controlling of services. The way I see it is, it takes me 20 cars deep to get out of my neighborhood, where just 2 years ago I used to be the first car to stop to get out of my neighborhood, but now I'm waiting 20 cars deep. Something happened, and that's a problem. So who's going to control that? If we continue going forward as we are, it's just going to continue to grow. There has to be somebody, some agent to say, hey, we're going to put some zoning restrictions here. We're going to put some extra police here. We're going to do some things here so that we can live in this environment that we go home to every day and enjoy it. If you don't do that, it's just going to continue to grow, and we're going to continue to complain, and we have only one representative at the board level that can speak on our behalf. There are 12 commissioners that don't really necessarily care what you think, because you don't vote for it. So the issue, I think, in terms of these conversations that we have, we got to see both sides of the picture. And my thing is, nobody wants increased taxes, of course not. But at the same token, I'm raising a family, and I want my kids to go out on the streets and not get hit by cars, because there's so many cars. Or, I don't want these vacant properties or people living in these properties, and I'll call 311 because there's junk in the yard, and I get a business suit. I want to call somebody and say, I voted for you, go to that house and tell them to get those chickens and those ducks out the yard.
That's what 311 is for.
And if I vote for you, and if you don't do it, I'm gonna say, you're not gonna be in this job from vote for you.
311
So I
already
think we
works.
have to look at
Yeah,
it from a perspective of controlled services, because the way I see it, I work with the county. Somebody's gonna control the money. It's gonna either be the county or people local. So who do you want to control the money?
The county. The county.
Good job.
The county.
Good job.
Two last questions.
Doing a good job.
Okay. Me or her?
The young lady go first.
Sure, please do.
I don't have all the information. I live in Richmond Heights, 10401 Southwest 146th Street. My name is Alberta Ray Cutler. I am for incorporation for 4 or 5 different reasons. But my main reason is we have been boxed in Richmond Heights for the last 30 years. We've been promised with Dade County on ways to come out, ways to go in, and nothing has been done. People say their area don't need this and their area don't need this. My area needs some control. 311 is a joke. We have no way in Richmond Heights except for 152nd Street. We have no way out but 117th Avenue. We are basically boxed in. And they're putting more and more stuff in there. You got construction stuff. Every road over there is tore up. You can't find out who's responsible for fixing this. You can't find out who's responsible for picking up this. We need somebody that we can go to and talk to and can do something for our neighborhood. I don't know about anybody else's neighborhood, but I do know about Richmond Heights because I've lived there for the last 40-something years. And we need somebody we can go to that can get something done down here, not way downtown, just to talk to somebody who's going to shove you off.
Ms. Fernandez, I'm going to be real quick. And I just want to bring you back to the question I originally asked. I want to know, when will this committee be making their recommendation as to go forward or not to?
Mr. Murray, they've completed everything they've had to in terms of what the ordinance requested, so they can do that at any time.
And when they do that, it'll be open to the public, right?
Just to clarify that, summing up what I see today tonight. Mr. Moss is the one who created this committee here, the gentleman here. Yes, sir. And they are to listen to people, the residents of the area to be incorporated. Tonight, I believe, is the night that they will make a decision whether their recommendation goes. We have communities here that we can have a lot of people. I don't know how many people, believe me. We have 2 communities that they are like 800 units combined. And this is a minority representing bigger communities. And the voices, they are against the incorporation. You have here, I don't know how many are in favor of the incorporation here. I heard a lady say you are in favor. I don't know how many. Okay, so you can see the rest obviously are against the incorporation. This is for you to do the map and have an idea how this is going. So basically, I believe you got the message. If we need to bring more people, do what this Carol Iglesias says. We need to pickets, go to the street, do whatever it takes, and the most important thing, when the election time comes, then we know what to do with the commissioner or whatever is behind this project.
Meanwhile, we can do the same thing that we did in our community, to put everybody
Okay.
together, and then.
That would be a project after whatever.
We already did it.
Question.
We did it before.
My question is, there seems to be a northern portion of groups that are opposed to the incorporation, and you have a MAC A and a MAC B. Is the board allowed to reconfigure the area from a recommendation of a MAC B and a MAC A in terms of their recommendation to the county commission? Because on one hand, if you have individuals that basically say they don't want to have anything to do with it and what have you, but you have areas that need services, that have not gotten services for the last 50 years, and money been spent somewhere else, and will continue on being spent somewhere else, and want to incorporate so that needs can be met. Can A and B merge and come up with a configuration that somehow serves those particular areas and leaves individuals out that don't want to? Because
my understanding is the commission would need to merge those A and B MACs.
but I'm saying the recommendation can be made for MAC A and MAC B, because as we sit here now, a lot of people.
The answer is yes.
Yeah, okay.
They can recommend.
But see, a lot of people
But
say.
at the end of the day, the board will decide what the area will do.
Right, because my thing is, a lot of people sitting here now on comfortable seats. In another 10 years, where it's going, your seat won't be too comfortable. And I can tell you that, because it's coming. And we're not responding to it, and it's coming. And it's already here to some degree. When we think we're ready, we're really not.
You're being manipulated. It's being manipulated.
I hope that the board is ready, because I would like to make a recommendation. Based on the work, that we've done, what we do know, whether it's understood or not, and I think we need to, our residents need to do a little more studying about this whole process. Because first of all, the recommendation that has been made to the county is that they incorporate all of the areas of Miami-Dade as Borough has done. That's a recommendation that we studied and they came up with. So, first of all, we have did our due diligence. We've had a budget. We've had a study by PMG, which is a consultant firm. We know that the property value, again, adjustable value is around $7 billion for the area. After we did our study, and the recommendation that came back from PMG again is that without counting some of the other revenue we would be getting as a city,
It didn't study the police services.
we still have over $3 million surplus, and we'll be delivering the same service now. We have no idea. We can't answer. If that was the case, we had just looking at that alone, that would mean the taxes wouldn't go up if you have a surplus. Now, if you were under, which is called what's it called? That's not just a Japanese community, it's background.
Going out of business.
Please understand, it's a community.
Funny how they always have a positive.
These are technical names that we use for this. And I've heard from the citizens here, but I've heard that there's some complaints. But some of those complaints come from the county. The first lady just spoke here tonight, talked about an area this year with construction, came from the county. People talked about streets. That's from the county. The truth of the matter is, and I know I have, how many people actually, and I'm not asking you, I'm talking to the chair. We're doing our business now, okay? The truth of the matter is, most of the residents of our area, okay, do not go downtown. Do not go downtown to take care of the business of the county that affects them. What I know is that these municipalities that have been created, you have a body that is in your community controlled by your vote as to who serves. It is my recommendation to just one thing about the PAB. At the PAB level, they can change things. About the boundary possibly being changed or something like that. At the PAB, they can make that recommendation at that point. So that was hard there.
They
can't. Go to the commission, and they can further make another recommendation if they want to downsize. What the community may not know, yes, there's a MAC A and there's a MAC B. The problem with the MAC A and the MAC B is that, if I'm right, George, is that we have another commissioner's district in between us, so it's not contiguous. But you can put those two together. You would have to have the approval of Commissioner Kava in order to draw those together. Okay, and that is either done by her recommendation or a petition drive.
It could do that too.
Or they could,
She could do it as a county commissioner.
Right.
The area and study.
Okay. And I would say to you, I do have some issues when I hear about, I hear this community, that community, I don't go south. Again, I said to you, this is America. excuse me, this is America, and not only that, yes, we have petitions, over 300 some petitions, it's absolutely true. We have 2, or maybe 3, homeowners associations. I'm a veteran of this, from way back. And I can tell you, Whispering Pines did not want to be a part of Clement Bay. I can tell you that Coconut Farm, I think it's called, did not want to be a part of Pinecrest. Homeowners Association. We're talking, we represent 127,000 people. It is my recommendation that we forward this, the work that we've done, to the commissioners and say, yes, we want this process to go forward. It does not say you're going to create a city. It only
No, you idiot.
And that's my recommendation. That's my motion. And I would ask for.
Can we have a voice vote on this?
I thought this was America, where majority rule. I thought this was America, where majority rule. I thought this was America. I thought this was America.
We say no, and we don't want to continue. No,
you're disrupted. We have garbage.
Say no. He can't talk to us. He can't. I can't believe what you did.
You're exempt
I
from.
can't believe it.
You're gonna exempt yourself from any job in the government.
Hey, we don't want it.
For 5 years, you don't get no contract, no job.
Exactly.
You know what we need to find out is how many millions and millions of dollars they spend in this study. Now we could have better service.
What's the vote?
They just passed it.
Yeah, but somebody said no. I want to know who said yes and who said no.
These guys all passed it.
No, she said no, I think.
She said yes.
You want to show off
The
that?
second one said no, I think.
Second one over?
Yeah.
If we don't get quiet,
Let them talk.
if we don't get quiet, they're gonna pass something we won't even have heard of. Exactly.
Let them talk.
What was the count, please?
Can you tell us how you voted, please?
We have an addendum to that.
Okay.
So,
We want
we
you
will,
to say.
along with the recommendation, we will